Welcome back to RE Radar. If this is your first time tuning in, my name's Nathan Matheson, and I'm your host and Seattle Realtor. Well, most of my day-to-day work is in Seattle. Here on RE Radar, I do try to share knowledge sometimes that is useful to all no matter what. So if you don't live in Seattle, you still could find some value from this podcast. Now, other episodes, though, will be primarily focused on Washington State, and this is one of those episodes. On today's episode, kicking off Season 3 of RE Radar, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of what's been happening in the Seattle real estate market over the summer. So summer's been flying by and the housing market has been busy. So let's just jump right into and talk about what has been happening, what's actually the numbers saying. So back in June, we saw the peak of the market. This year, the median sale price for a residential home in Seattle hit $1,040,000. That is the highest it's ever been. June also had the most homes on the market this year with 1,441 active listings, and then also the most closings at 651. So what are those numbers telling us? So it tells me kind of that just the buyers were ready and they were simply waiting on the sidelines for the right mix of scenarios to happen. In this case, the right mix of homes came to the market and interest rates were lined up for them to be comfortable in buying. Mortgage rates have been slowly trending down and down in 2025. In June, they averaged around 6.7%, creeping closer to 6.5%, then 7%. That number is what has given buyers a little more purchasing power in their mind and made them a little more comfortable with getting out there and actually buying a home. And with over 1,000 new listings hitting the market in Seattle in June, that combo led to the more sales happening. And like I've said before, in Seattle, home prices, they tend to rise year over year regardless of what the headlines are saying. Year over year, June's median sale price was up 10.6% from the $930,000 that it was last year. Now, what did July then bring? Did it continue with June in real estate market going up and up? And no. But if you've heard RE Radar before, you might have heard an episode where I touched on this before, and that's the Seattle summer slowdown. Median sale price actually dipped in July, down to $995,000, and new listings dropped nearly 12%, while closed sales fell about 11% from June. Because here's the thing, people just don't love moving in the middle of peak summer here in Seattle if they don't have to. That is when this weather is definitely the nicest, and people like to enjoy that, or kids are out of school and they're on a vacation. Now, just because there might not be as many sellers out there, it doesn't mean the demand has disappeared at all here in Seattle. July's 577 closed sales were right on par with what we saw in April and May. And with those rates in July still around 6.6 to 6.7%, the market stayed steady overall, just with a slight dip compared to June. Now August, of course, followed in that seasonal pattern trend. Again, new listings dropped down 24% now just from July, so new listings definitely are going down and down as the summer months draw longer and longer. In August, we saw only 677 new listings hitting the market. Remember, back in June, we saw 1,000. So that's definitely a big drop in how many homes are out there. But the buyers were still out there. In fact, August can actually be a great time for someone looking to buy a home, since maybe some sellers are looking to wrap things up before fall. They want to move off of their home, move off of their asset, and they want to get out of there before the fall and winter. And so August can lead to sometimes buyers having some good negotiating powers and it being a great time to be shopping for a new house. So in August, we saw 549 closed sales. So yes, still below, but just a 5% dip from July, showing that those serious buyers were still out there, active and taking advantage of the opportunities when they presented itself. Like we say in the summers, sometimes people are taking vacations, they're taking trips. They're taking kind of time off from trying to buy a new home. And so this leaves opportunity for people who might be either more serious for whatever reason, or they just need to buy a new home. This leads to them having potentially better opportunities to negotiate and better opportunities to get that home that they really love. And what we saw with price-wise in August, the prices held strong. August's median sale price came in at $985,000, so only slightly lower than July, and still we're talking about appreciation over a year. It's up 6.5% year over year in median sale price in July. So what is the takeaway here? In Seattle, demand is consistent. Inventory can sometimes get a little tighter as the summer goes on. And so even when things cool down seasonally with summer having people out of town, prices can still hold firm at that higher mark. So if you've been waiting for a market crash here, it's just not happening. Seattle continues to be one of those markets where values will rise steadily year after year after year. And if you're looking for a little early prediction from me on what I see happening in the real estate market this September, relying on historical trends here of what happens typically, I would say prices go up. And they might hit $1 million again, or they might just at least get back up into the $990,000 range for median sale price that we're going to be seeing in September. Because after this summer cool-off period, we can see a little spike often of activity with people trying to now really buy a home or sell their home before the winter lull then hits us end of November. And as we end the Season 3 kickoff show, one last quick conclusion for everyone with just all that info of what I've been touching on quickly. June, what we saw was a high mark, a record $1,040,000 median sale price here in Seattle. More new listings and more closings in June. That's that peak time of real estate, May to June. Then came that expected summer slowdown. July and August brought fewer listings and, of course, a dip in sales, but not a dramatic dip in sales, as buyers who are serious stayed in the game, especially if something good came onto the market. They were all over that, and it was probably getting multiple offer situations. So prices pulled back slightly, but not enough to shake that long-term trend of Seattle's still high-value market in real estate. And affordability then, of course, remains a hurdle for the majority of buyers or hopeful buyers. So Seattle's summer market gave us the usual seasonal slowdown, but the bigger story, of course, is prices are holding strong. This market isn't crashing. It's just catching its breath and getting ready for a strong end of 2025 when we get past the summer here. Now that wraps up the RE Radar episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this breakdown helps you better understand where Seattle real estate market stands right now. And if you found this useful, hit the like and subscribe button and share it with a friend. And if you've ever got a question, remember, my line's always open, so just shoot me a text or shoot me an email, and I will be happy to answer it one-on-one for you. But until then, I'm Nathan Matheson. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.